minutes. Good morning, everyone. I am Zuili Deshpande, the Outreach Director at Revolution Software Development Club. I welcome you all to the day 3 of our Mean Stack workshop series on Angular. This workshop is organized by the Revolution Software Development Club under the Department of Computer Engineering, Vishwakarma University. So without any further ado, let me now invite today's workshop instructor, Mr. Karan Jagtiani. He is the founder and president of Revolution Software Development Club. He has over 2 years of experience in web development and has created various production applications. You can connect with him through LinkedIn and find some of his projects on GitHub. Both the links are given in the description box below. So let's begin with the workshop. Over to you, Karan.
Yes, thank you, Joely. Thank you very much for the introduction. And yes, this is the day 3 of our Mean Stack workshop series. This is the final day, of course. And today we will be connecting all the components we have discussed so far. So we have already learned Angular in the past, but today we will be going over Angular again. And this time we'll be connecting Angular with Node.js. So previously when we had conducted the workshop on Angular, it was only about just Angular and all the features that Angular provides. But this time it's more about application development and not about a particular technology. That's what philosophy we have followed in the previous 2 sessions as well. And in this session as well, we'll be following the same philosophy. So before we get into the theoretical part or the hands-on part of this session, I would just like to mention the prerequisites for this particular session because some of you may be new to this series or maybe joining for the first time. So the prerequisites for this session are Node.js, MongoDB, and the Angular CLI. All those installation guides have been provided in the description box of those particular videos. So For Node.js, you can go to that particular video and find the installation guide for that. Same goes for MongoDB. And you can find the installation guide for Angular CLI as well in the description box of this video. And of course, it goes without saying that the first two sessions that we have conducted in the last 2 days, they are crucial for you to completely understand what is exactly going on. So it is a prerequisite, those two videos, but not to worry too much. If you haven't watched them yet, you can always watch it later. You can watch this session later as well, as this is a YouTube live stream. We won't be removing this video. It will be there on our channel itself. So before we start our presentation, before I get into how we'll be connecting Angular and rest of the things, I would like you guys to run this command. So the prerequisite is you need the Angular CLI. And once you have the Angular CLI installed, you need to run this command ng-new Angular src. And over here, just do this and it will ask you 3 questions. First question would be, would you like strict type checking? So say no to that. So just type N. Then would you like to add Angular routing? So yes, we would need Angular routing today. So just say Y. So Y and enter. And it will ask you a third question, which type of styling format would you like? So we have chosen SCSS. You can choose CSS as well. Both will work, but I would recommend SCSS. So choose these. So I am telling you to do this right now because this creating the Angular project for the first time, it takes around 5 to 10 minutes. So it will take up some of the time. So not to waste any time, you can run this command, keep it in the background, come back to the live stream, and we can continue. You can continue watching, and I'll explain what we are going to be covering in today's session. So yes, is everyone excited for today's session? Let me know in the chat box. All right. Okay. So let's begin. So first, I would like to revise what we have done so far. So it is a 3-tier architecture. We have covered this: client, server, and database. Client sends a request to the server. Server may send the request back immediately, or it may send the request to the database. Database responds, server responds back to the client. So this is how the architecture is laid out. And how is it laid out in the mean stack? So this, here you go. We have Angular for the client side, Node.js and Express for the server side, and MongoDB as the database. So our backend consists of Node.js and MongoDB along with Express. Front end primarily consists of Angular, which is a framework. So it uses HTML, CSS, and JavaScript as well. So yes, so what is Angular? Angular is basically a TypeScript-based web framework. So TypeScript is a programming language which is, you can say, a superset of JavaScript. So as you may already know, we have also covered this in the JavaScript workshop that you can also find that on our channel. If you want to learn JavaScript in depth, you can find that. You can refer to that. So TypeScript is a superset to JavaScript, and it is a compiled programming language compared to JavaScript, it being interpreted. So that is, you can say, mainly main difference. And TypeScript also has a lot of other features like strict object oriented, and it also has strict type check. So type checks are also there. It helps you develop your application in a much more, you can say, quicker way, or you can say error prone. So less error prone, you can say, when we use TypeScript. So yes, it is developed by Google, and it is used for building dynamic web applications. So we'll see how we get this dynamicness to our web application. So we'll see that. Then advantages of using Angular, why you should use Angular. So it's a component-based web application framework. So this is the new thing nowadays. Everything is component-based, you can say, in web applications. If you're building a web application in today's age, you would be using some sort of framework like React, Vue, or Angular. So all these are component-based web application frameworks. So it helps you modularize a lot of things. So we'll take a look at that as well. Then it provides like high performance to your web application compared to just a native web application, because it has built-in features like code optimization and tree shaking. So tree shaking is just, it removes the chunks of your code which are unused, you can say. So the code that you have written, but it is completely unused. So instead of having it over there in the final build version, it removes that code. So that, you can say, is tree shaking. And it also has a ahead of time compiler. So basically, as it is written in TypeScript, but all our browsers, they only understand JavaScript. They don't understand TypeScript. So it compiles that TypeScript code into JavaScript code and then deploys that on the web. So that's how you get your Angular application. Then it also has a feature called as lazy loading. So that actually comes into the picture when you want to deploy a high performant web application. So we won't be getting into that, but that is a feature that Angular provides. So yes. So of course, how to connect your Angular application with Node and MongoDB. So it's basically Angular sends a request to Node and Express, and Node will respond back depending on whether it sent a request to the database, any errors or not. But it's basically a request response, you can say. So we have been covering this. So in the first session, we covered only this part, Express and Node.js. And in the second session, we covered mongoose and callbacks, like how they are connected. And now today we'll be covering how Angular will send a request to our Node server. So that is what we'll be doing today. And of course, we'll build the GUI as well. So yes, let's get started. So let me know in the chat box if you guys are excited for this session or not, because this session is the most important session of all the 3 days. Today we'll be putting everything together. So now all the things that we have been building, we have been trying to code, all the features, they will come together and you will get a visual feedback. So we'll have a GUI this time. So yes, finally, right? A GUI. So yes. Yeah, so this installation guide is provided in the description box. So you just need to run a simple command, npm install -g at angular/cli at latest. So it will install Angular CLI for you, the latest version. So yes, this is the installation guide. So now we can get into the hands-on part of the session. So I hope that everyone has created their basic Angular project. So this Angular SRC, it has been created and it gets stuck on that installing packages part. So it's not actually stuck, but it feels like you are waiting there for a long time because it has a lot of external dependencies, Angular. So that's why it takes a lot longer than any normal Node.js module that we have installed. So let me know if you guys have created the basic Angular project or not. Let me know in the chat box so that we can continue, so that we can move forward. So yeah, let me know. Basically, you should have this folder called Angular-SRC, and we just need to open 2 different command prompts. One would be for Node.js and one would be for Angular. So I have opened 2 different command prompts over here. So open one in your parent directory of your Node.js. So this, which we have been building so far. And so open a command prompt over here and open another command prompt in this folder, Angular-SRC. Yes. All right. Okay, great. So I guess you guys have already created this. And for those of you who were not able to follow along completely, the code was also provided on our WhatsApp group. So the code for day 2 and day 1, that was provided. So you can directly use that code as well. That's not at all an issue. You can always, to learn these things, to learn the specific syntax, you can always refer to these videos. So to follow along in this one, you can take that code. That is not at all an issue. And this entire application, we will be pushing this to GitHub and we will make it completely open for you guys so you can refer to it. So that will also be done. All right. So now what we'll do is, we have these 2 command prompts, right? I hope you have 2 command prompts open. And now we'll run NodeMon over here. So NodeMon is a tool that I have explained in both the first 2 days. Just a tool for, you can say, restarting your server whenever you make a change. You don't have to manually run a Node app. So NodeMon you can use. And over here, type this command, ngserve. So just do this. Yes, Deven, we will be sharing that, but not right now. After this session, we will be doing that. Yeah, you will get the code, don't worry. You will get the entire code. Yeah. So, yes. So our NodeMon has successfully executed. It doesn't take too long, but Angular, it takes some time, but as this is a basic project, it shouldn't take that long. So once you get this output, go to your URL bar and go to your browser, open a new tab. We'll do localhost colon 4200. So just localhost colon 4200. So you may have noticed that till now we have always used localhost colon 3000. That was for Node.js. So that is where we deploy. Angular by default deploys it on 4200. So that's what we have done over here. It is deployed on 4200, and you can access this basic Angular, you can say boilerplate code. This is your boilerplate. Angular provides this by default. So this, they have like given all the resources for learning Angular CLI documentation. So I highly recommend these web pages for going in depth into Angular. So these sessions like mean stack, and they are primarily to get you in the right direction, like remove that fear of trying new things and showing you the power of these technologies. So the technologies that we learn in our standard curriculums, they are most of the time outdated. So that is the reason why we do this, to show you state-of-the-art technologies that are used in today's industry. So that is the goal of, you can say, Revolution SDC. That is what we do. So, all right. So now what you can do is, in this directory only open VS Code. So open with code, open the VS Code, you can say editor. We have been using VS Code for the past 2 days as well. Today also we'll stick to VS Code only. So, all right. So now, the first thing that I like to do is, whenever I open a project on a new day, like if I have been coding for in the past day, and now I'm working on it on the next day, I like to close everything and collapse everything. So a brand new start, you can say. So you have a clearer picture. So here you have Angular SRC. Open this, like make this, drop that directory. I'll increase the font a little bit. So yes, I hope this is visible. If it's not, then let me know in the chat box. For now, I'll stick to this font. I'll increase it if you guys feel so, if you guys think it's too small. So all right. So then click on SRC. Then you can click on app. So here is your, you can say, main code of Angular. So we have covered this folder structure in our Angular workshop as well, which we conducted in last year. So if you want to learn in depth what this folder structure it is, what each file contains, because there are a lot of files like package.json, tsconfig.app.json, then a lot of files that we are not familiar with or may not be familiar with. So don't worry about it. We will be going through only some of these files, not all of these files. We'll be going over some of these files, and I'll try my best to make sure that you also have track of which file we are opening, closing, which file we are typing the code in. So I'll try my best for that. All right. So basically, this is your entry point. Every application has an entry point. Our server also has an entry point called as app.js. Similarly, Angular has an entry point called as index.html. So over here, you can see the title is Angular SRC. So see, this is Angular SRC. Let's change that. So we are building a to-do application. So to-do application, we'll save this. You can type in to-do application, whatever you want. It's up to you. So see, now it automatically refreshed. So that is the advantage of using a CLI like this. Most of the CLIs provide this feature that whenever you make changes in any of the files, it automatically saves, it automatically reloads. So you don't have to refresh again and again. So yes. Then over here, we have the body tag. Within this, it has said app root. So basically, app root is this component, you can say app.component.scss. So as I had mentioned, Angular is a component-based framework. So it comes with a base component, which is called as app, which is the parent component, the main component, you can say. And if you go into this app.component.ts file, you can see that it has a selector called as app root, app-root. So to access that component, we can use this syntax, Angular brackets, app/root, and close that, you can say the closing tag of HTML. So that's how you access a component. So basically what it said is that I want my parent component in my body tag. So whatever is within this parent component is rendered within this body tag. And this is the file that is finally rendered on our browser. So that's how it is linked, you can say. So this is your main component, these 4 files. and that component is linked over here. So that's why you are getting this boilerplate. This boilerplate you can see. So now what we'll do is we'll remove this boilerplate first of all. So we have this code over here. This is that code which was displayed on the browser. All the you can say stuff that is provided by Angular by default. So we'll put in our own tag over here. We'll put a h1 tag, like a basic h1 tag. We'll just say hello world and save this. Go to our browser. Yes, we get hello world, basic hello world. I removed all the boilerplate code. So the first thing I like to do whenever I create any Angular or any application is, first things first, include Bootstrap in your application. So it is a mobile friendly, you can say, CSS framework used for building mobile first application. So that's the thing I like to do. It has built-in classes as well, so it makes the life of the developer much easier. You can stylize everything in a much efficient way. So in order to do that, what we need to do is I'll collapse everything first. Go to Angular SRC, then click on this file, angular.json. So it is in the parent directory only. So over here, we need to specify the path of Bootstrap. So basically, like if you just can't run npm install Bootstrap and it will be automatically linked. We do have to run that command. So we'll do npm install Bootstrap, and we need jQuery as well. So jQuery is a prerequisite of Bootstrap. This was covered in our very first workshop, which was the web development workshop. So over there, we have covered HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. So over there, this was covered. This was again covered in Angular workshop as well, how to link Bootstrap with Angular. So just run this simple command, npm install Bootstrap and jQuery. All right, so I'll increase the font a little bit. I hope this is better now. I hope this is better. All right, so by the time this installs, we can take a look at this file as to exactly what it includes. So basically, this is your main configuration file, you can say, which is linked directly with your renderer. So this is, you can't say that this is your main config file of your entire Angular project, but this is linked with the, you can say, renderer. So renderer is basically what is being rendered on your screen, on your browser window. So all the things that happen related to that, as to how it should be built, how it should look, and what libraries should be installed, or modules you can say should be included. All those things you can say are provided in this angular.json file. So yes, this command has successfully executed. So now before doing ngserve again, now we need to include the path of Bootstrap and jQuery in styles and scripts as well. So first we'll do the styles. So put a comma over here for the first point and add a string. So /node_modules, because that is the default, you can say, folder. So modules, default folder where all the modules are installed. So over here, that is their node module. So it has a lot of things, you can see. It has so many different things, so many different dependencies. So all these are dependencies of Angular itself. So we don't have to worry about those. We just have to find Bootstrap. So we are including the path, right? So we need to find Bootstrap first. So this is Bootstrap. So I just typed over here boot and I got the thing, the entire folder name. So basically I'll start building the path as we go along. So Bootstrap, then go to dist. So /dist. Then we have CSS. So this is styles, right? So we'll include the CSS file. So I'll just expand this. We have bootstrap.min.css. So over here, we need to specify bootstrap.min.css. So that's it. That's how you can include this Bootstrap, you can say, CSS framework. So why do we include min.css and not just this CSS? So for this, I'll explain through example only. So I'll open this over here and I'll open min.css. So basically now for this part, I'll zoom out. For this part, I'll zoom out. So see, this is the min.css and this is .css, just .css. So basically in .css, it has the same code, both have the same code, that is for sure. But over here, if you have like, if you are putting in a slash backslash n, like a new line character, and then you have tabs as well. So tabs are over here. So every space, every character, it contains 1 byte, right? It takes up 1 byte of storage. But if you go into min.css, all those extra tabs, all those new line characters, all of them are removed, and it does actually provide you with a better, you can say, file size. So I'll just show you what the file size of those are. So src, no, not src, node modules. Then we need to find Bootstrap. Yes, this is Bootstrap. Then we go to dist, CSS, go to CSS, and over here, you can see that bootstrap.css is 195 kilobytes and min.css is 158 kilobytes. So you may be wondering, this is approx, what is this, 37 kilobytes of difference, which is, what is that? It is nothing, right? It is not too much. But when it comes to an application that you're building, so there is not one person that will be using your application. There can be tens of thousands of users, but you have only one server, right? Assuming you have only one server. So for those tens of thousands of users, you would be serving that extra 37 kilobytes, right? So you can imagine how it can exponentially grow, how that small number, 37 kilobytes, can grow into a very large number when you have a lot of users. So every byte matters when it comes to web development. So I'll just increase the font again. Yes. Now we need to also include the bootstrap.min.js. So again, we'll come to this. Over here, we need to say /node modules /bootstrap /dist. Then instead of, okay, so we have missed something here. We have to say CSS /. So over here, we'll say JS /. So just follow the path. You don't have to memorize this. Just follow what the path is. So JS, then we have, again, same logic goes for JavaScript as well. So bootstrap.min.js. Then another prerequisite is a jQuery. So again, we have to do node modules /jQuery / so I don't remember the path after that. So we'll search for it. We'll do jQuery. So there is this exo get jQuery as well. We are not looking for that. We want just jQuery. So we have to find it. So yes. So it's in alphabetical order. So you just have to scroll down a little. You'll find jQuery. So again, it has dist. So normally these files are in dist. Like the ones which they want you to use in your production application, they are in dist. So /dist /jQuery.min.js. Again, min version .min.js. So, and a comma over there. Put a comma after this string. So the reason why we included this before Bootstrap is because jQuery is a prerequisite of Bootstrap. So Bootstrap has this prerequisite, jQuery. So you have to include that first. So now we'll save this and we'll see. Now we'll do ngserve again. So ngserve, let's run this command. Let's see if there is any error in this path, like if you did not write the path correctly, it will tell you that it does not exist. This path does not exist. So then in that case, you need to cross check whether you typed the path correctly or not. There can be a spelling mistake, or you can miss out a directory like I did initially. So that is a common mistake. So don't worry about it. So let's see. This is serving. This is generating the browser application bundles. So all right, let's see. So hopefully we did not get any errors. So that's good. Now once we come over here and let's refresh this. So yes, once we refreshed, so you can see the font entirely. The font was changed. So we are sure now the Bootstrap was successfully included. Just to be double sure, we can create a button with a Bootstrap class of btn primary. So this is just a short syntax for, you can say, writing HTML code quicker. Now if I do tab, so it builds out the HTML code for me. So I'll just say test over here, save, alt tab, check. So yes, you can say Bootstrap is successfully included now. Just to be sure, press F12 on your keyboard. So there are no errors over here as well. So this is your console. This is our best friend. In web development, the console is your best friend. Whatever you do, console can tell you. So console.log statements are, you can say, very important in web development, whether it be backend or front end. So over here, we can see the console like this. And in Node.js, you already know console is viewed over here. So yes. So now what we need to do is, so I hope everyone is following along with me so far. I'll collapse everything and we'll close this Angular JSON, and index HTML can also be closed. We'll keep this open. So I hope you guys are following along till now. If you have any issues, any queries, you can keep posting them in the chat box. I have a look at it once in a while. So I hope that there are no issues till now, and you guys have been following along with me so far. So yes. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to include routing in our application, because as I said, it is going to be a component based application. So just because there is already a component created by Angular and you put all your HTML code over here, doesn't make your application component based. You should actually create your own component. So we can do that. So over here inside the app folder, create another folder called as components. So let's do that. Create a folder called as components. And what we'll do is, so close down this, you can say Angular CLI. So don't close the prompt, but just press Ctrl+C. It will stop serving the application. So do that. Now we need to change our directory from this Angular SRC to this directory of components. So we need to go over that basically. So cd src/app/components. This is what you need to do. src/app/components. So we need to change our directory to this directory. So yes, if there was any spelling mistake, it would tell cannot find or something like that. It will give you an error. But if it changes it, so there was no mistake. Now we need to create a component. So for that, what we can do is ng. So ng is the command prompt of Angular, ng, which is short for, you can say, next generation. So that's what they have named it, ng. We can say generate component and name of your component. So we'll do a home component, like the home page. So generate component. So ng generate GENERATE component, COMPONENT. So there is a short way of also doing this. We can say ng-gc. Then we'll create another component profile. So G means generate, C means component. It knows, it already knows. So we don't have to say generate. I was just explaining. So ideally you should use ng-gc. And we'll also create a navigation bar. So of course we need to navigate as well, right? So a nav bar. So for this application, we don't really need a lot of components, but of course, through this logic, you can build n number of components that you want according to the requirements of your application, of course. So whatever your requirement is, the goal today is to increase, you can say, explain everything to you in detail, all the basic things, so that you can also create your own projects, apply this same logic in your own projects, and make anything that you can think of. So that is the goal. So we'll come back to our Angular SRC directory. So for that, we just do cd ... And now we'll do ngserve from now only, but we need to do some coding in the Angular file, you can say. So, all right. I hope everyone is with me so far. And yes, I hope I'm not going too fast. So let me know if you feel that. And yes, so see, in our components directory, so src app components, I'll just collapse and do it this again. So go to Angular src app, then components, which we only created this folder. Then we created these 3 components, right? So it created a folder with 4 different files for each component that we mentioned. So home, it has 4 files. Navbar has 4 files. Then we have profile, it has 4 files. So we'll go over those four files. So basically it has a HTML file, which just has home works. Then it has a CSS file, which is empty. Then this is a component spec.ts file. This is used for, you can say, unit testing, which we won't be getting into today. And this is a, you can say, component.ts. So this is your logic file. All the logic that we are going to be building, it's going to be in this file, home.component.ts. So profile component we have just created to show you the navigation feature of Angular. So how do we do navigation? So we will get into that next. So that is the next part of this workshop, how to do navigation. So that is using a router, or you can say routing. So that's what we'll be doing next. So let me know, are you guys following along so far? If there is any issue, or if you have any queries, you can keep putting them as I've mentioned. So yes. So the next part is how to do routing in Angular. So all right. So basically, to achieve routing, open this file. So initially we spoke about these 4 files. So this being the component of the main component, the parent component, you can say, of Angular application. But there are these 2 extra files. One is an app.component.ts and an app.module.ts. So let's open this file now, app.module.ts. So over here we have to specify the routing of our application. So let's just do some, you can say, comments. Like adding comments is a good practice. So I know that all my components are over here, and all my, you can say, external modules, they will be on the top. So these are the main modules required by Angular, and this is also a component. So let's take this down. An app routing module, because we said yes, right, in the question that Angular CLI asked us. So yes, now we need to do routing over here. So we have to import the routing module. So routing module, and we need to also include routes. So we'll do from and add Angular /router. That's it. I believe this is the router module and not routing module. So yes, that error is gone now. So TypeScript, you can say, it lets you know immediately that there was an error. So this is the router module and not routing. So all right, we have imported this. Now we need to create the routes. So what are routes? Basically, it is very similar to what we did in NodeJS as well, the routes that we were declaring. So over here, we'll say const routes and colon routes is equal to empty array. So basically, this is a variable that we are creating, which is going to be of the type routes, which we imported from router. So basically, this we can specify types as well. So in TypeScript, you can specify a type of your variable. We can have, let's say, str::string as well. So this, you can say, this is the syntax for having, you can say, declaring a variable like this. So you can have type checking over here as well. So this is how you do type checking for this, you can say, your router module. So similarly, we'll be defining types in our app.component.ts as well. So that variable syntax, that will not work in this file because this is the module.ts file. So over here, now we need to create the routes of our application. So we'll do path, and this will be blank. I'll explain this. And component will be the home component. So the home component, yes. So this is the home component. So if I say blank, so empty string, there is no space also. Blank just means the main route. As soon as you come to this route, home page should be visible. Then we'll create another route over here. We'll do, so add a comma over here, and again path. So path, and let's do profile now, because we have created a component called as profile also, right? Component, component colon home component, not home component, profile component. So as this component is also here, so all these import statements were done by the CLI itself. We did not do that. So we have said, so basically this means if we do /profile, it should go to that component. So these are the 2 routes. You can have n number of routes in your application. So once you know how to create 2 different routes, you can apply the same logic and create n different routes, right? So over here, come down, go to the imports array. So there is this imports array in this @ng module. So add a comma over here. And now we'll be doing router module, which we imported. So two things we imported, right? One was router module and another was just routes. So dot for root, and over here say routes. So this basically no semicolon, it can be a comma. So as this is an array. So router module dot for root routes. So basically in the router that we have created for Angular, use these routes. So this is, you can say, the syntax for doing that. So basically the you can say the base of the router is created. Now we need to specify this in our app.component.html as well. So now I'm moving to app.component.html, and over here we have to say a router outlet. Close it, it will auto close for you. So router outlet. So basically we are saying that your entire router you have to render in this you can say HTML file. So we'll save this and see how it looks. So I get homeworks. See, so that was the code, base code that was given, like the base p tag which was given homework. So this comes by default when you create a component through the CLI. So homeworks we get. Now let's try profile. So we get profile works. So basically that's how we have created the router. But this is not how the dynamic behavior of Angular works. I shouldn't be like saying home like this and going to the home, it refreshing everything. So that shouldn't be the case. So for that, we need a navigation bar, you can say. So that's why we have created this nav bar component as well. And for this, we need a navigation bar that we will be using Bootstrap for this. So we use Bootstrap for creating this navigation bar. So of course, we won't be creating that navigation bar from scratch in this workshop, because this is not a, you can say, workshop on Bootstrap. This is about application development, you can say, a to-do application. So I have these links that we'll be using in today's session. And these links are provided in the description box of this live stream as well. So just take that navbar link and go to this link. So this is the official site of Bootstrap itself. So they have only provided these examples. So we'll take an example from this site only. And this should also give you an idea as to how to take code from, you can say, boilerplate code from, or boilerplate GUI from other sites, and then apply it in your application, how to do that. So for that, we'll use this navbar. So I scroll down a little bit. So how it works: supported content, brand, then we have nav. So this navigation bar we'll be using in today's session. So what you can do is you can copy this. This is provided by Bootstrap only on their official site. So you can take this, not an issue at all. So this is the code for our navigation bar. Let's see how this looks. We need to also include this in our file. So as you saw, for the parent directory, it was app root, right? Now we have app navbar, which is the name of our component. So same selector we have to use, app dash navbar. So our navigation bar should be there. Yes, that base navigation bar is here. We'll make this navbar in dark theme. So I'm going to navbar.component.html in the navbar component. And now we'll be working in this file. So I'll just toggle word wrap. All right, so we have navbar light. So just do dark. And again dark. So dark, dark. Let's save this. Let's see if we get the dark navigation bar. We do. All right. So we have two routes, right? We have profile and home. So we'll remove these two routes, these two tabs, you can say. Remove this. Call this as profile. Profile. Home is home, and instead of navbar, we'll say to-do app. Save this. See your changes. That automatically refreshes. So we have to-do app over here, home and profile. So now in order for the navbar to work and make your application dynamic in nature, before that I'll remove this span over here. Not necessary for you to do this. I just want to remove that span. And another thing is I want to remove this class as well, class of active. So that's minor changes I've done, not necessary for you to do as well. So just for, you can say, styling purpose. So over here we have said href equals to this pound symbol, the hashtag. So basically this, what does this mean? Take you to the home page, right? So if we click on profile or anything, any link, it doesn't, like, it, nothing happens. Profile is not working. So for this, what we need to do is we need to provide the router links over here. So we need to say to do app should route to the home route. Home route should again route to the home route, and profile route should route to the profile. You can say the profile tab should route to the profile route. So we need to change the syntax of all these three hrefs. So basically what I see over here is these three strings are exactly the same. And VS Code is also highlighting this for us. So I'll show you, you can say, a nifty little trick in VS Code. What you can do is hold Control plus D, Control plus D, and press that twice. So it has selected both the, you can say, the next two instances of this string. And now whatever changes we make, it will apply to all the three places. So that is one feature of VS Code. It saves you a lot of time. Instead of copy pasting, you can select those just through Control plus D. Over here, we have to say router link and do equal to sign, and equal to sign, double quotes. Over here, specify square brackets, and in single quotes, so square brackets inside that single quotes, and do a slash, just a forward slash. So forward slash means the base route. So now I'll just click over this profile link so that those selections are gone, and just make a minor change over here, profile. So see how much time it saved for us. So yeah, now save this. Let's see if it works. If we go to profile, we get profile works. If I go to home, I get home works. So see, it is changing the pages without actually reloading the page. So if you go to any traditional website which was not made with you can say a dynamic web application framework, so this is not what happens. If you click on a particular button or a route, you can say, it refreshes the page. So this is not what happens with Angular. It is rendering everything through this router outlet in this component.html. So that is the base logic. Everything is rendered through this router outlet. So when we are on /home, over here, what it does is it adds this app-home, you can say. So that is not exactly what happens, but to understand, you can say app-home is added over here. Then when we click on profile, app-profile is added over here, like replaced with this. So you can say that's how this is working. This is your parent directory, and this is the only thing that is there in our body tag in HTML. So this is what is happening over there in index.html, which is in the parent directory of Angular SRC. So now close that index.html, and we can remove these as well, these two testing lines. We have navbar and we have router outlet. So navbar is done. And also, yes, so save this, remove those testing, the things we added in the beginning, and our router is working. So yes, this is our base, you can say, router. This is how it works. If I click on the name as well, it takes me to the home route. So yes, router is also added now. So then next, we can go ahead with our logic of adding tasks, looking at those tasks, etc. All the features that we have created for the backend. Now let's do them for the front end as well. So go to the home page, home component. So I'll collapse everything again, close everything, close all, collapse as well. So it collapses all the directories that we have opened. So just for explaining, so it's easier for you to understand, go to Angular-SRC, then go to SRC, then go to app, then we have components, then we have home. And in this, open the index.html. So component.html, home.component.html. So I know that is, we went through a lot of directories. So, but this is how you can say the modularization is achieved in Angular. This is a good practice, doing this, having components. So let's remove this, and we'll create a container. So div.container. So what I'll do is I'll stop using that syntax because some of you may not have that extension installed. So class of, you can say, container. So over here in this container, we have just created a container, Bootstrap container. So in this, what we need is we'll create a add task button. So before that, let's have a rough layout as to what we'll be doing. So we need a add task button. We need add task button. Then we need to display the undone tasks. So the undone tasks that are there. Then also display the completed tasks. So done tasks. Then in undone tasks, we also have created features for mark a undone task as completed, right? Or maybe delete that task. So this is a rough layout that we'll be building today. So let's just comment this out. We'll keep this for reference, for our reference. So first things first, let's create an add task button. So I'll do button. And in the button, we'll add classes over here. So class of BTN and BTN primary. And I'll add my own custom class as well. We'll call this add task BTN. So we'll just say add task and toggle word wrap. Yes. So yes, let's see how this looks. I have this button, add task. That's it. So now we'll create a wrapping card. You can say div for this. So I'll do div, and I want a class of text center. So I want this button to be centered. Let's save this and let's see. Yes, button is centered. So I hope that you guys are following along till now. I hope that no issues are there and no queries. If you have anything, you can put it in the chat box. So I hope everyone is following along till here. So yes, we have this wrapping, you can say, class of like a division of with class text center. And after this, as I've created a custom, you can say, class as well, we'll add some styling to this. So just copy this class, go to home.component.scss. So it's the file below HTML, below the HTML file only. Over here, you can add your styling. So SCSS is, you can say, a superset of SCSS, CSS only. So CSS will also work in this. Just like how C programming language will work in C++, same goes for JavaScript can work in TypeScript, and same logic goes for CSS will work in SCSS. So we can have basic CSS syntax over here. So I'll just do this dot add task btn, and what I want to do is I'll add some padding. So we'll say 10 pixels and 25 pixels will do. This basically means add 10 pixel of padding from top and bottom. So this refers to top and bottom both, and this refers to left and right. So I want only 10 pixels from top and bottom, and 25 pixels from both sides, left and right. So this corresponds to this, top and bottom. And the next one corresponds to left, right. So that is this syntax, you can say, for styling, just a convenient way. Instead of saying padding top 10, padding bottom 10, padding left 25, this is a convenient way. Then I'll add font weight of, let's do 500. Then let's add some letter spacing of, you can say, 0.5 pixels. Don't go too crazy with the letter spacing. Then after this, we'll add some margin top of, let's do 20 pixels. So the keys that I pressed right now, they were Control plus K, and then I let go of both of the buttons. Then I pressed S separately. So Control plus K, and then wait for like half of a second, and then press S. So what it does is it will save all the files. So if you made a change over here, made a change over here, and made a change in the third file as well. So instead of saving them manually one by one, you can say Control plus K and then let go. Then after half of a second, press S. So it will save all 3 files at the same time. So that's you can see another small tip. So yes, the styling was added. The button looks much better now. So now what we want to do is we want to add add task, right? So basically take input from the user. And what I want to do for that is I want a pop-up box. So when I click on this, a pop-up box should appear, like a modal you can say, or a dialog box. So that should appear, and within that it should ask you to type, to input, basically input the name of the task. And we'll have a submit button over there as well. So again, we won't be writing that from scratch. We don't have to do that. We can use the basic template provided by Bootstrap itself. So ideally, I would suggest using Angular material. So that is also something that you can use. This is, today we won't be covering Angular material. That is basically, you can say, the material, the framework of the material framework provided by Google. So all the you can say web application frameworks like React, Vue, and Angular as well. So Flutter, they all of them, they have the, you can say, the material GUI. So that is the GUI built by Google only. So GUI framework, you can say. So yeah, I would suggest Angular material. We won't be covering that today. Let me know if you guys want a session on Angular material separately. There are a lot of things that you can do, and the GUI looks way better than just simple Bootstrap. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll copy this code. So come to this link. This link is also provided in the description box. Then scroll down. So how it works. Then we have examples. Then scroll down more. We have live demo. So you can also try this launch demo. You get this model, this pop-up box. We want this. So we'll take this entire code and come to your app.component.html, the main file where we are working. And what we'll do is we'll add that code over here. So press Alt plus Shift plus F to format it. That comes with the prettier extension. So some of you who may be wondering, if you go to extensions and type in prettier over here, so prettier. So you can install this prettier code formatter. Through this, it formats for most of the files, CSS, CSS, HTML, JavaScript, JS. So you have to press Alt plus Shift plus F to format it. So if your indentation is incorrect like this, so Alt plus Shift plus F will fix it for you. So yeah, just a small tip again. So basically, with the help of this button, so let's just save and test. Let's see what we get, whether it works also or not. So if I do this, I get the dialog box. So it's working, but I want it to be linked with this button and not this button. So for that, what they have done is data toggle and data target. So we need these two, you can say, attributes of this HTML block, the button. So take these two attributes, data toggle and data target, take it and put it in this button, the button that we created. So data toggle modal and data target hash example model. So remove this button now, no need. Now scroll down a little bit in the modal section, you can see. Instead of modal title, we'll say add task. Then scroll down a little bit more. Instead of save changes, we'll say submit. I'll close this extensions tab. We'll come back to our HTML, you can say folder structure. So now save. Now let's see. It's all incremental changes. Don't make a lot of changes at the same time. Make minor changes incrementally and then see whether it's working or not, because initially you may face a lot of errors, a lot of issues. So with time, you can do a lot of changes at the same time and not do it at a shorter duration, but I would suggest doing it at a shorter duration. So yeah, add task is here, and we have submit as well. So submit, it should submit, and close, it closes. This cross also closes. If I click away, it again closes. So the model is working as we wanted it to work. So now we want the input field, right? So in this modal body, you can put in anything that you want. You can have an entire registration form as well. Username, email, password, address, city, you can ask everything in this body. So over here, we just want one input field, which will be the name of the task. So over here, I'll create a div first. So div, and in this, we'll create a class of form group. This is what I'm doing, class of form group. And in this, we can have a label. So we'll do label, and it will say label for. So we'll do task underscore name. So label for task underscore name, and we'll say task name colon. So that is our label for the input. And now we can have input over here. So we'll do input, and input doesn't have a closing, you can say closing tag. Input is just input. Then in input, we can say ID first of all. ID is task name. Then name as well is going to be task name. Same, what we have mentioned over here, task name, task name, task name. And we need to say type is equal to text. So let's see what we get with this. So type equals to text, ID is task name is also task name. So I think it reloaded. So yes, we get this input field over here, but it doesn't look too good. So there is a class for that. So we'll add a class, and this is going to be form-control. Form-control, save this. So add a class to your input tag of form-control. So when I click on add task now, so this is much better. I have my input field over here. So when I click on submit, I want the data that I type over here to be printed in this console. I want it to be that way. So for that, what we need to do is we need this attribute called as ng model. So ng model, and over here we have to say a variable name, so task underscore name, and this same variable should be in your ts file as well. So for now, I'll close down the scss file, and we'll go to the ts file, which is the component.ts file. So this file I have opened, and this is what you will see, the boilerplate of this component.ts file. So just above the constructor, we'll create a variable called as task underscore name, and we'll give it a type of string. This is how you can give types to variables as well. So task name is a variable, and this is going to be of the type string. So if we save this, let's see what happens. Yes. So now we get this error saying that can't bind ng model since it's not a known property of input. So for this, we need to include the forms module in our application. So you can't just go ahead and do this. There is a module for this. It comes in with Angular out of the box. You don't have to install anything. It comes in out of the box. You just have to import those modules. So come to app.module.ts. So I'll collapse everything again. Go to Angular src, then we have app, then go to app.module.ts. So this is the file where we created our routes, where the components are mentioned, and where we imported the router module as well. So now we need to import the forms module. So we'll say forms module, and we also need reactive forms module from. Then so do add Angular / forms. I toggle word wrap here as well. So save this, and we need to include both of these modules in our imports array as we did for the router module as well. So do the same thing, scroll down, come to this imports array. I just copied these two, and I will paste it over there in the imports array. So here it is closing, paste, and do Alt Shift plus F. It's formatted. Now it looks much better. So now save, and now we'll see what it does. So again, it compiled successfully, and now that error is gone. So now that error is gone, but still this will not work by default. We need to apply a click event over here. So when I click, then print this. So we need to create a click event. So we'll do that. So for that, come over here in this button, and So we are in app.component.html. So back to where we were. So create this round brackets, say click, and over here say equal to sign and the name of the function. So add new task, let's say. So click equals to add new task. And now let's create the definition of this function in this PS file. So functions are located over here. So below ng on init, I'm specifying add new task. So over here, let's do console.log this.task underscore name. So that's it. We have created a simple function. So we'll do save this. If I hit control plus K, then S. So it saved both my files at the same time. So it reloaded. I'll do add tasks. If I say just current, submit, so I get current. I do current 2, I get current 2. So we are able to get the data from the user successfully. Now all we need to do is send this data to our router, the express router on our node server. So node server is running, just verify. Yes, it is running. It is successfully connected to the database as well. So now all we need to do is send this data to our node server. So that logic is already written in the first 2 workshops. Initially, we created the router for accepting just the data. Then we created the connection between NodeJS and MongoDB for storing that data. Now we are creating the front end. So now I hope that you guys can imagine how it is all coming together, how all our technologies are connecting with each other. So yes, we will do this. We will create this. We'll send this data to our node server, but after the break. So let's have a break of around 3 to 5 minutes. And after the break, we'll continue and we'll get back to this. We'll start off from this point only. So yes, let's have a break now.
Let's take a break of 5 minutes, and during this time, I would like to give a brief about our club Revolution and what we do. We conduct sessions like this regularly where you get to know the first-hand experience of technologies used in the industry. We have conducted various technical workshops on topics like JavaScript, Angular, React.js, and so on. So if you are interested in checking out those workshops, all of them are available on this YouTube channel itself. Also, do subscribe to our channel and make sure you hit that bell icon to turn on post notifications if you want to stay updated on similar sessions that we will conduct in the future. Main thing that we always consider is that our audience needs no background knowledge to attend any of our workshops. Or if needed, you will find that on our channel itself. We are keen on creating a technically sound community by bridging the gap between the university syllabus and industry requirements. Our social media handles play a vital role in giving you minute details about the technologies that we cover. For this workshop as well, we have shared some key details about these technologies that might have not been covered in this workshop. So do check that out. The links are in the description box. We are available on all the famous platforms. One more activity that we have under this club is the Campus Ambassador Program. In this, we recruit ambassadors from different colleges who act as our connection in their campus. They coordinate our activities, inform their students, and ensure that we are implementing the technologies that we discuss in the Revolution Club at their campus. Moreover, the ambassadors can convey to us the need of their peers, and we will be glad to conduct workshops and webinars accordingly. In turn, they will get internship certificate, letter of recommendation, a sound technical knowledge, and many more benefits. So if you are interested in being a part of Revolution's initiative, fill the campus ambassador form given in the description to join our team and our mission of spreading knowledge. This is it from my side for now. So let us get back to the session. Over to you, Karan.
Yes. Thank you, Joely, for the introduction of our club and what we do. So yes, this is all a selfless initiative. Our only goal is to spread knowledge with the community, because we know that not every college or not every curriculum will teach you these latest technologies, and we can't blame them as well. They can't keep updating their syllabus each and every time, because that is a tedious process, right? So but these technologies, they don't stop rolling out. Each and after every few months there is something new. So of course the syllabus can't keep up with that pace, but a student club like this, the Revolution Software Development Club, can keep up with that. And that is our goal, to spread the knowledge with the community, so that the world can be a better place. You can also use the knowledge that we have in your own projects and bring your ideas to life. So that is our goal, you can say. So yeah, so where were we? We left off at this. We are able to get this data. And now what we want to do is, so we have this data in the TS file. Now we want to send this data to the backend. So for that, I will again collapse everything. So you should be in sync with me, all of you, I hope. So yes, there was just one point from Jason John. How did you learn these frameworks? So I personally learned these frameworks through the online means only. Like I don't really prefer watching, you can say, videos, or I personally prefer, you can say, articles. So that way I can get down the code or the data or the knowledge as quickly as possible. But initially I used to watch a lot of videos. So that is our perspective. Like currently where I am, I don't need to watch a video to, you can say, learn something new. But to get to this point, I used to watch a lot of videos initially. So that is why we do this, so that we can, you can say, kickstart you guys. So that once you have that fear removed, that what is mean, how to use Angular, syntax is very tough. No, it's not. It's not that tough if you just pay a little attention, or if you just have someone who can teach these things to you, the basic things, so that it can give you a kickstart. And that is the goal. That's how I also learned initially through videos, and now I'm able to do it on my own. So that is the hope, that is our goal, that through these videos, through these sessions, you can also get a kickstart and build your own application. So yeah, all right. So yes, enough of the philosophical talk, and now let's get back to the coding part. All right, so I collapsed everything. Go to Angular SRC, the main directory, then go to SRC, then go to app. So over here, we'll create another folder. So if you guys remember my point from the initial days, that always modularize. So that is always a good practice. So we'll create a new folder here. I'll explain why. So call this as services. Call this folder as services. So in this services folder, we want to create a service that will communicate with the external world, which is our node application. So that is why we want to create a new folder. So we can have basically we want to send a HTTP request, right? Which is going to be of the type post. So we can have that HTTP request in this function itself here only, but that is not really a good practice. Ideally, you should have all the code that is communicating with the outside world in separate files, or in our case, one separate file will do. So we'll create a folder called as services. So now come to your Angular command prompt where it says ng-serve, and just click Ctrl+C to stop serving the application. So stop serving the application. And now we'll go to that services directory. So if you remember, initially we went to the components directory. Now we'll go to services. So app, SRC app services. So CD SRC app services. Again, we'll do ng-g and service. So you can say S also, that will also work. But ng-g service, we'll say auth. You can call it anything you want. We'll just call it auth. So hit enter. Now wait for it to create your service. So the CLI is creating the service for us. So now we can go back to our parent directory. So cd dot dot cd dot dot cd dot dot. We are in Angular SRC now. So serve it again. So by the time we are coding, it will be done building and it will serve. So now you can see in the services folder, we have these two files, auth.service.spec.ts. Again, spec.ts, these files are usually related to testing, unit testing. We won't be worrying ourselves with this file, this particular file type. Go to auth.service.ts. So over here, we have all our HTTP requests. So what did we have in our backend? We have a post request for adding a task, then get request for getting all tasks, then a patch request for marking a task as complete, and a delete request for deleting a particular task. So we want the HTTP module over here. So before that, again, we need to do the same, just like we imported forms module, router module, reactive forms module, routes. We have to import the HTTP client module from Angular itself. So it is out of the box, but you have to specify that you will be using the HTTP requests in this application. So that the syntax for it is, so currently I'm in app.module.ps again. This is our file where we created the routes initially. So yes, we'll do HTTP client module. So that's it from @Angular /common/HTTP. So this is the you can say module in which HTTP module is located. So HTTP client module from @Angular /common/HTTP. So that's it, and you need to import this in your imports array. So now I hope that you guys have the hang of this. When you import a module or external module like this, you have to import it over here so that your Angular application understands that this module has to be used, because I can just import and leave it over there. Then tree shaking will take care of it and remove that code. So, but now we are saying that no, we want to use it. So save this file. Yes, so now it is building the common HTTP module, compiling this. So for the first time only, you will see this line of code. So compiled successfully. So now we don't have any errors. So now we can create our HTTP route. So over here, we'll do import HTTP client, and we'll do HTTP headers. So we need these two again from @Angular /HTTP/common/HTTP /common/HTTP /TP, and I'll toggle word wrap again. Save this. What do we have over here? Nothing, but we'll save. All right. So now we need to get this. We need to initialize this with you can say instance of this module. So we need to create an instance of this module. So the way we do that is we do it in the constructor. So I'll say private HTTP:/HTTP module. So basic HTTP client. So HTTP client. So basically, I have created you can say object of this module. So this is the object, and it is of the type private. So it will only be applicable in this class. So it is of the type private. So part of the object-oriented concepts. So it is private. So it is only visible in this class definition. So we just instantiated this object, you can say. So now we'll create a function, add new task request. So over here, first let's create the headers. So let headers equals to new HTTP headers. So we'll do HTTP headers, and again this is also a object of this. This is an instance of this, you can say, module. So now we have to do headers dot append, and the thing which we have been doing in Postman for the past 2 sessions, we have to specify that in Angular. So same thing, content type. We used to do this in Postman, right? So content type, and over here, application/JSON. So same thing that we were doing with Postman, we are doing it with Angular now. So content type, application/JSON. So now we need to make the request, right? Make the request to our server. So we will do this dot HTTP, which is this object HTTP dot. So it has these routes. See, get, post, then it has others as well, like delete, patch is also there. So we'll do post, because adding a task was a post request, if you remember. So the route for this http://localhost:3000/to. So that is it. And now we need to pass the data as well. So the body that we were passing in the raw section of Postman. So we said raw, like in body raw, and the object, right? So we'll pass in an object which we get from this function, you can say parameter. And we need to specify the headers also. So comma, curly braces. So curly braces after obj, headers, headers. So this is what we do over here to create a basic post request. But now that post request is going to be returning something, right? Whether it was added into the database or not. So basically that validation that we get from the server side, whether it be an error or whether it be a success message, whatever it is, we need to specify to the client as well, right? So we can't just leave it at this by making just a simple post request. Okay, data is out, now it must be successful. We can't say that. That we have to have some sort of validation that we get on the client side. So for this, what we are going to be needing is RxJS. So I'll import RxJS over here. So from RxJS, we need the map module. So from RxJS / operators. So basically, what this will do is, so when you make a call to your server, when you make a call to the server, you don't always know how much time it is going to take. Sometimes it may take half a second. Sometimes it may take 1 second. Sometimes it may take 5 seconds as well. So how are you going to say that wait for half second or 5 seconds or 3 seconds? We can't really hard code that because we don't know how much time it is going to take for the server to respond, because the server can be located anywhere and I may have a very bad internet connection. So for that, we have asynchronous calls. So asynchronous calls, what this means is wait till whenever you get a response. That is the simple logic. That is the most effective logic. And that is what RxJS in Angular is used for, or RxJS in any sort of framework is used for. What RxJS will help us do is make an asynchronous call to this post request, stating that wait till whenever you get a request. So whenever you get a request, okay, then respond. So for that, we have to import this map from RxJS operators. And for that, we have the simple syntax of .pipe. So we have to say .pipe. And over here in this function, in this call, you can say map, and we have to make another call. And in this, we are going to be making an arrow function. So another bracket over here will say res, and the arrow function which I said, arrow res. So through this, we'll be making an asynchronous call, and we'll be subscribing to this asynchronous call in our home.component.ts. So basically, in our home.component.ts, we need the response, right? So here, in this function, it will wait until it gets the response from this, you can say RxJS asynchronous call. So we have to say return over here. Return this .http.post, this link, and you have to provide in the data, the headers, which we have to use, and .pipe map. This we have created an arrow function for res. So with this syntax, we are making an asynchronous call, and through the subscribe method provided in Angular itself, which is you can say part of this RxJS map operator, we can subscribe to this and wait for it to respond. So before we do that, we'll use the, you can say, power of TypeScript. So here I'll create an interface data, let's say, and over here, so this is not compulsion, but over here, what you can do is you can specify the data that you're expecting and the data types as well. So all the data that you may be expecting, you can specify it over here, or you can say define it over here that, okay, I am expecting a success boolean, I'm expecting a message string, I'm expecting a task array. So we'll do success boolean, because if you guys remember, we did this success and message and task array in our requests in our router, express router as well. So we are just specifying that over here. So string, and we will create a task of an object type, and we'll create a task array, so plural. You can say array, that's it. So this, you can create an interface, and for this post, you can, so come over here, this.http.post angular brackets, and over here you can put in data. So this.http.post data, so this will provide strict type checking as to what data is incoming. So this is just a method for catching errors while development. So this, you can say, is done for avoiding bugs later on, because JavaScript by default, it doesn't have any type checking, you can say. That is an interpreted programming language. So, but TypeScript, as it is a compiled, you can compiled programming language, you can do stuff like this, specify the data that is incoming. So I believe the first route of our auth service, which is the add new task request, is created. So we'll see if there are any errors, if we made any errors in the syntax. We'll look at that at runtime. So we have to import that auth service in this file, home.component.ts. Again, I'll collapse everything just so that everyone is with me so far. So go to angular-src, then go to src, then go to app, then go to components, home, and home.component.ts. So over here, we are in this file. So before we move ahead, let me know if you guys have any questions or if you are facing any errors, issues, let me know in the chat box. And Parth is asking why not on directly on Meet. So the reason is that we don't do this directly on Meet is because we can have this session on the live stream as well, so that you guys can have this session whenever you want. And we also get a session to, you can say, to you guys directly. So, and we also don't have a lot of fuss in the Google Meet. So a lot of the times you can say users distract each other in the meeting. So not everyone will listen quietly. So just for having that, you can say, having that smoothness in the workshop, we do this on YouTube. So yeah. All right, so I don't think there are any questions. So I hope that you guys are following along with me so far. And now what I'll do is I'll import the auth service over here. So we have to do import auth service from, so we need to import this file, right? So where is it located? So it is located in the app directory. So yes, if I close down components, yeah, services is located in app directory. So what we'll do is we have to go to that. So first I'll do dot dot slash, which comes out to the components directory. Now I'll do another dot dot slash, which comes out to the app directory. Now I can say services slash or dot service. So it's as simple as that. And we have included this, imported this, but we need to again instantiate that. So as you can see, this is exporting a class. So wherever we are instantiating stuff like this, it is exporting a class only. Here also we are exporting a class. And as you may know from object-oriented, if you are familiar, that we are just creating an instance of that class, like an object. So we'll do private and auth service in camel case this time, and this is Pascal case. So for those of you wondering, camel case is this. If I do Karan Jagtiani, this is camel case. The letter of my first word is small, but the first letter of my second word is big. But Pascal case is a little different. K is also capital. So classes are normally named in Pascal case. That is just a convention. You can do anything you want, but this is a convention followed in the industry. So classes are named in Pascal, and variables are, you can use this case also. This is the kebab case, and you can use camel case as well. So depending on the organization, you can say. So yeah, we have created this auth service object, and here we can do this dot auth service dot add new task request, and over here we need to pass in an object, and now we can do dot subscribe. So dot subscribe, it is auto completing for me as well. We'll do data, I toggle word wrap. So over here another arrow function which expects the data variable data, and we'll do if data dot success. So I'll explain why we are doing this. So we'll say console dot log task added, and else we'll do console.log task not added. So this is what we can try. So basically over here, this .auth service .add new task request, which we created over here, and we have to pass in the object. So we haven't created that yet. .subscribe, and we are expecting all the data returned from the server in this data variable. So arrow function data, and if data.success. So I can't do anything over here. Anything will not work because it is not mentioned in my interface. So whatever is mentioned in the interface, success, message, task and tasks, all of them I can do, I can access those parameters of that particular data object, which is received from the server. So I can do anything, I can just say success. But in case of a normal JSON object, you can do anything. Even if it's not available, you can do it. It will return null or undefined. So yes, now we create this object const obj, and we'll say, I think it is expecting task underscore name colon this dot task underscore name. So this dot task underscore name just means that variable which we get in the console log. So I think this should work. Let's see. Let's save. Node.js is running, and we also have ngsoft. So Angular is also running, no errors. So yes, let's try to send. So we'll say task 1 and we'll do submit. So it said task added. So basically it did say task added. All right. So basically it will not be directly added for you guys. So for that, what you need is you need the course module. So the code that I have provided, or you can say the code we have written till now, it will be like this. So without this, these lines of code. So we'll just remove that and try to submit. So this is the error that is expected over here. So it is basically giving us it. See this link, it has been blocked by CORS policy. So CORS means cross origin resource sharing. That is the full form. It basically means that our server is not okay with accepting requests from any domain or any host or any IP address. It is not okay with that. It has not allowed every domain host to be sending data to the server. So for it to allow, we need to import the CORS module. So for that, what we need to do is you have to come to your NodeJS terminal and say npm install CORS. So that's it. Hit enter. I'll also hit enter. Let's install it again. I believe it's already installed on my app, but it won't be on yours. So do that. Hit install, npm install. And so currently we are in the app.js, which is the node files. So I'll collapse again. This is the node entry file, which we have created from day one. So now that is installed, we'll run nodemon again. And if we go to package.json, we have this CORS as well. So CORS with the version number, and CORS is installed now. So now we can do const CORS equals to require CORS. And we have basically made a reference to this module CORS. And now over here, what you can do is below this line, you can say app.use CORS and instantiate that. So a constructor, you can say function. So app.use CORS. So save. And if we try to add a different task, let's say task 2, now it should be, so it has said task not added. So let's see what went wrong. It said task not added. All right. So what we can do is we'll open MongoDB now. So cmd do MongoDB. So open another command prompt, and over here we'll do Mongo. So I have 3 command prompts open right now for your reference. One is our NodeJS, one is our Angular, one is our MongoDB. So when you are doing full stack development, this is the usual case that you will have. So we'll do use to do the app that we have already app as in the database that we have already created. We'll do show collection over here, tasks, so db.tasks.find.pretty. So there are some tasks which are already there in this database. So we'll start from scratch. I'll remove all the tasks. So db.tasks, remove everything. So it removed 7. Now I have 0 tasks. So now we will do task 1. So let's see, submit. So task 1, task added. So if I do db.task.find.pretty again, I get task 1. So yes, that is basically it with the backend file. You can close app.js, you can close package.json as well. come back to your home component. Over here, we'll also console log data.message. So why was task not added? We'll print that as well. So this is received from the server side. So we'll do task 2 now. So submit, we get task added. If I do submit again, task not added because task already exists. So this is the logic that we wrote initially. So that is working. So yes, this is how you can create a post request through Angular. So this is the syntax. I hope that was understood, because this is the most important part of this, you can say, session, the HTTP part, because all these basic things, they have mostly been already covered in our Angular workshop as well, but this is something new. So now we'll do add new tasks. So now I want to see all the tasks that have been added in my database. I want to see the tasks, right? All the tasks that have been added. So for that, we'll create a function called as, we'll call it refresh task list. Refresh task list, because we'll be calling this function in various places. So that's why refresh we'll say. And over here, again, we need to subscribe to a get method. Subscribe to a get request, you can say. So the logic is going to be very similar. We need to create another, you can say, function in this auth.service.ts file. So over here, we'll do get all tasks request. And we won't be requiring to pass anything into this function. So that is all right. We don't need any headers as well. We just need to do the return this.http.get, and we'll do the interface of data and the route http://localhost:3000. And I believe that's it. So we can do .pipe now, and we'll do map again, res and res again. So this is how. So no, we need this. This is incorrect syntax for the arrow function. So we need map again, res. Then outside this, you can do res. Yeah. So return that. So I believe this should work. We have done the same thing, but instead of passing object and headers, we have left it out. And instead of post, we have said get, and we need to say /to do. That is one thing that was remaining. /to do. So run a get request on this /to do. So we'll save this now. See if we have any errors. No. Now let's come to this part, and we'll do this.authService.get all task request. Nothing to be passed, so directly .subscribe. And over here we have our data object, arrow function, same logic. If data.success, because remember we are doing .success, right? I'll just give you a reference to that routes file as well. So go to your parent directory, the outermost one. Over here we have our NodeJS code, and we have the to-do routes. So I'll open this somewhere over here. And if you remember, in the post request, we are also doing res.json success : true message task added. If it was not successful, we are returning success : false, task already exists. So that is why we have that if else condition, and that is the reason why we have been using this logic from the day one, or from the very beginning. So data.success, we'll do console.log data.tasks, I believe. So yes, we can try this out and call this function in this ng on init : void. So call this function over here. So what this does is it will basically call this function whenever this component is initialized. So ng on init, right? On init as in on initialization, run this function. So that's basically it. So we'll do semicolon and save, compiled. And now we have this console log over here, and it is an array basically. So in 0th location, we have this task 1, which we created. And in the first location, we have task 2. So the array was also successfully, you can say, returned. So now we want to display that. So we'll do task : it will be an empty array. It will be an empty array. tasks, and we want to display this. So first of all, get that in this variable. So this dot task equals to data dot task. So, and we'll do console dot log this dot task instead of data dot task to be sure. So we'll save this. Let's see. So yeah, we get the data correctly in the task variable. So now let's create the GUI for that. So let's close down the files that we don't need. Component file we need, service file and routes file. So these are the 4 files that is opened, that are opened in my VS Code editor. So now we are going to the home.component.html file. So over here we'll have our display logic as well. So this div is for the modal, this is for the add task. So this is our modal. So below the modal, this div, and this is our main container div. So this is our main container div. So inside this div, but outside the model div, over here we'll add the display task logic. So comment this out, and we'll create a, you can say, a div again. So div, create a div over here, and we'll run a for loop. So how to do that in Angular? It's star. You have to say, if I can find the button, yeah, star ng for, and do let task equal let task of task. So the variable name that you have given. So we have given task, right? So task. So let task of task, and now we can do task dot name. Let's just try this out if we get that or not. So we do get task 1, task 2. So that was correct. We'll just add a little more styling to this. I want a P of H3, you can say, undone task, we'll say. And we'll add a HR over here. This is not necessary for you guys to do. I'm just doing this so that it looks good. We'll say a dot P-4 to add some padding. And over here, we'll add a outer, you can say, container. So div of class text center, and in this we'll add this div, and yeah, let's see how this looks. So we have undone tasks. We'll give this text center class, so it should center it. Yes, so we have undone tasks, and this is also centered now. So we'll give this as well a class. So we'll say task block. We have task block over here. So task block. So now I'm opening our SCSS file for styling. This is not necessary. So we'll do task block. And over here, we'll add some styling to this. So I'll do background color. I'll change the background color. So let's do hash EEEEE. So this is like a grayish white color. So not completely white, but towards the gray side. Then we'll add padding of, let's do 15 pixels. Then we'll add a margin top of, again, let's do 15 only, 15 pixels. Then I also like border radius. So let's do border radius of 5 pixels. Let's see how this looks. So I'm again pressing Ctrl plus K S to save both the files at the same time. So now this looks much better. So we have our, let's make it a little darker. So you can hover over it in VS Code and select a little darker shade, so it's more visible. Yes, this is too dark, a little lighter. Yeah, this seems fine. Yes, so this looks okay to me. So we can also display the tasks. So the reason why we created a function in our home.component.ts, this refresh task list, we did this so that we can refresh the list, like the display, in when it says data.success. So when we add a new task, it will again call this function. So it refreshes that list again. So we'll see this in action. So add task. Now let's do task 3. Submit. So task 3 was added. Then we'll do task 4. Task 4 was also added. So this is how that is working, and everything is dynamic in nature. Nothing was refreshing or nothing else was happening. It is completely dynamic. So now we have 2 more functions to write. So we'll do that as well. I'll close down the SCSS file. That's not of use. Um, Now we'll create 2 more buttons. One button will be for completing the task and one button will be for deleting a task. So we'll do button and we'll say delete, and we'll give this a class of btn danger. And so I'm hitting Control C and Control V again. So we just copied that line and put it below it. So we'll say complete. Mark as completed, right? So btn danger will give it a red color and btn success will give it a green color. So save this. Let's see what we get. So we get these 2 buttons, but I don't want these buttons to be in the center with the name. So we can do, so go to SCSS file again, open this. We'll do dot task block button, and we'll do float right, and we'll give it a margin right as well. So right of, let's say 10 pixels. Let's see how this looks. Float right will take it over here, but it is not vertically centered. If you can see clearly, I'll zoom in a bit. It is not vertically centered. So we'll do margin top of negative pixels. So we'll do margin top of minus, let's try 5 pixels first. This is actually building GUI, right? You have to do a lot of trial and error. 5 pixels doesn't look good to me. I'll do 7. This is how you build GUI. This is the most tedious task according to me. Like, it's not too fun, I would say, for me. I prefer backend development more. So yeah, now we have these 2 buttons also, complete and delete. Complete, delete buttons are there. So on pressing this delete button, it should delete that particular task only. So for that, now we can close the SCSS file. And over here, we'll add a click event again. So click, and we'll do delete task function. And in this, we provide this task variable. So task. So basically what this will do is it will correctly identify which one we have clicked on, because this is the same button, right? But repeated 4 times. So how do we get task 3 if I click over here? So with this object reference, this task, this will correctly identify that this was the button and it was part of the 3rd task. So return the 3rd task. So it will correctly do this for us. So we'll save this file, create that function over here. So we'll do delete task. We'll say task, which we are providing, and we'll do console.log task. This is what we can do. Save this file and let it refresh. If I click on task 2, delete. So I get task 2. If I do task 4, I get task 4. If I do task 1, so I get task 1. So it is correctly able to identify. That's what we want. Again, we have a HTTP request of delete. So we need to create that. So where do we go? We go to auth.service.ps. So here we'll create delete task request. We need to provide that object as well. So again, same. We need the, so this time as well, we don't need the headers, because there is going to be a different type of way. The way delete request works in Angular is a little different. So for that, we don't need headers for this. So directly do return this.http.delete. Use that interface which we created. Again, the same link. So http://localhost:3000/2. And over here, the way we pass the data to a delete request is through syntax. This is the syntax. So params : object. So it will be passed as parameters and not as JSON object. So it will not be passed as JSON object through a delete request. It is passed as a parameter in a request. So I like normally parameters in a request, they are not the way a JSON object is sent, like in the body. So a HTTP header, it has a lot of sections. So one of them is parameters, one of them is body. So our post request uses a body, which we directly pass in here. And our delete request, it uses, you can say, params. So that is what we are doing over here. So yes, all right. So then we'll do dot pipe of map again of res arrow function of res. We are returning this, correct. So this is all right. Save this. Come back to your home.component.ts file, and we need to do this dot auth service dot delete task request, and over here we need to pass in the task dot subscribe, and again data. So same syntax. If data dot success, we'll do this dot refresh task list, and else we can print out the message. So data dot message. So save this now. So this is the delete route. So if we go over here and if we do delete, it did not actually delete, because if you remember in our routes file, we are expecting the data to be in the body and not the params. So come to your delete route. So it is over here. And here we are saying request.body.name. So say request.query.name. That is the minor change that you have to do over here. So once you do this, save and try this again. So we'll do delete 3. So it was deleted. Delete 2, it was deleted. So that was the minor change that we needed to do in router.delete. So same thing we'll do for patch request as well. So mark task as completed. That is what the purpose of the patch request is. Again, we'll provide the object. Then we need the header. So let headers equals to new HTTP headers. Then we'll do headers dot append. We have content type, content dash type, application slash JSON. That's it. Then we need to say return this dot HTTP dot delete. No, not delete. This time we are using patch. So again, same request, same route, HTTP colon slash slash local host colon 3000 slash to, and this expects the body as well as the header. So over here we can provide an obj directly and headers as headers. So now we can do dot pipe again, same syntax for asynchronous call, map res. This is an arrow function res. So mark a task as completed. So we have created the, you can say, route for it in auth service. Now we have to call this function in our home component when we click that button. So we'll create a click event for this as well. So we'll do a click equals to we'll say mark task as complete. Similar way, we have to provide the task object directly. It will know what we are trying to do. So just copy this function reference and you can directly paste it here below the delete task request. So in home.component.ts, we'll create this, and now we just need to say, so just for being sure, we'll do console.log task. So what task are we getting from the HTML file? And this .auth service dot delete task request. So now delete mark task as completed and pass in task, then do dot subscribe. Then we'll do same arrow function as always. We are getting all the data from the server in the data variable and complete the arrow function. If this dot, not this dot, data dot success, so we'll just say console.log success. So completed we can say. And here else we'll say data, we'll do console.log data.message. So I believe we are getting this error because we have not provided the interface. Yes, so interface. So provide the interface in your this.http.patch, the interface name, just like we have did it for the other files as well. So so both the errors are gone now. So after completing, we'll again call this.refresh task list. So we'll save and let's see what do we get. Let's see what do we get. We'll add few more tasks. So task 2 we deleted, right? And task 3 as well. So 3. We'll add few more tasks. So let's just confirm that all are false. So completed colon false, completed colon false, again completed colon false, and completed colon false. So we'll do it for the third entry, which is task 2 complete. So let's see, it said completed. So let's see for the third entry, which is 0, 1, 2. So we get completed colon 2. So good. So it worked. We'll complete 1 as well. So we'll see 1, that is true. 2 is false, 3 is true, and 4 is false. So it is working as expected, but we want to segregate this, right? So we don't want our completed tasks in the undone task list. We want to segregate this. We want to show to the user that, yes, you marked it as completed, so it should be in your completed list. So we have to just make a minor GUI addition, you can say. So over here, I'll just copy these 2 lines. So instead of undone task, we'll say done task. And I'll add this padding also over here, just for, you can say, some padding between these 2 lists. And below this HR, we can do this again. So div of class of text center. So we want it in center. Then div of task block. Again, and we need to run the ng for again. So ng for let task of, now we'll say done underscore task. And in this, you have to just print task name. So task.name. So we need to create this done tasks array as well. So we'll create this done tasks array in our home.component.ps. So done tasks array equals to empty array initially. And now, as I said, we need to write the segregation logic. So for that, we can write that logic in this function itself, this refresh task list. So I'll show you this. I'll show you approach that we can achieve that. So we'll create a variable called as let task. So I'm storing it in a temporary variable, and over here I'll do task dot for each task. So again, an arrow function, and if task dot completed, then you add it to the this array, this dot done task. This dot done task dot push, we add it to the task. We add the task to this array, and we do else. We say this dot task. So task by default is undone task. So task. So we are getting an error over here saying that task dot completed is now not, it does not exist. So basically we can fix this error by curving over to this or.service.ts file, and over here task is a empty array, right? So it is of the type never, so that is a data type, you can say. So we'll replace that with any. So any is also a data type, and you can see that error is gone. So we'll print out both the lists, done tasks as well as tasks. So again, I'm hitting Control plus K, leave it S. So all 3 files were saved. So yeah. So basically you can see our task 1 and task 2 we marked as completed. I can delete our task 3. And so yes, there is a bug in our application, which is basically, it is continuously appending to this list, right? So initially it had 3 and 4, but it again appended after refreshing. So we need to initialize both the arrays to empty, basically, empty arrays. make it empty always before making the request. So this dot done task is also going to be empty. So now let's try to do that again. So we have 4, we deleted 3 last time before we got the bug. Task 1, 2, so we'll add task 5 now. And we'll say task 6 as well. I want to complete 5. So 5 was added. I want to delete 4 and I want to complete 6. So it is working as expected. So yes, basically this is how you create a to-do application. You can have a lot more features into this. Like if you have 0 tasks over here, you can print that there are no tasks, so add a task. So, or you cannot print this. So you can use if conditions as well. You can create more features if you want to, let's say, undone as well. So you can do an undone button over here. So let's say you mark a task as completed by mistake. So you want to undo that. So you have all the logic, you have all the examples to do all this. So yes, that is how you create a to-do application in the mean stack. So to summarize what we have done till now, from day 1 in Node.js, we created all the routes for all these features that we are looking at right now. Then on day 2, we created the database logic for those routes, which we created on day 1. And finally, we have our entire application ready. So from day 1, we were building the components one at a time. We were building them block by block. So initially Node.js and Express, then we connected Mongo with Node and Express. So it was Node, Express, and Mongo. And now we connected Angular with all the 3. So this is your mean stack. So this is how we did. We went from bottom up. So instead of doing GUI first, then backend, we did backend first and then GUI. That is the preferable approach according to me. So others can have different opinions, but this is a good way to summarize everything, to connect everything, and to make everything come together. So yes, this is how we build a to-do application in the mean stack, and all the features are done. We will be sharing this code with you guys on the WhatsApp groups, and we'll update the description as well of this video. So for those of you who are watching this later, you can also get access to this code. So play around with it, make tweaks, make changes, do whatever you want with it. So yes, this is how you work with the mean stack, and I hope that you guys learned something new from this, so that now you can use the mean stack in your projects as well. So according to me, in my opinion, we'll be giving an assignment as well. So we'll discuss about the assignment later. So according to me, if you watch all these videos from day 1 to day 3, and you get reference, you learn these things, follow along. And then if you create that assignment on your own, just by referring to the parts of the video if you need, and if you can do that, so in my opinion, you are considered as a mean stack developer. So if you can do that, then if you are able to put in that time and do that actually, so in my opinion, you can call yourself a mean stack developer and put that in your resume as well. So yes, that's it. That's it for the mean stack workshop series. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And yes, we can end this session now. So yeah.
Thank you, Karan. Now let's start the question and answer session. Please, 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 please feel free to ask your questions in the live chat box. Karan will answer them directly.
Yes. So if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat box. So yeah. I hope that it was helpful to you guys, this series, and you learned about all the HTTP requests, right? So you can create multiple post requests, multiple get requests, multiple patch requests. So have multiple routes files. So we created a to do route.js one file, right? So a normal production application will have a lot of features. With tasks, let's say you can have other features like maintaining notes or something. So there can be a node route.js. So something like that. You can definitely do that as well. So yes, yes, Julia, I don't think there are any questions. So I think we can end the live stream and end the last day of our Mean Stack workshop series. So yes.
Okay, okay. If you guys get any more questions in the future, you can always contact us directly. Our numbers are then on the WhatsApp group. Regarding the certificate for this workshop series, there is a link to the assignment provided in the description box. You need to submit that assignment to us in order to receive the workshop completion certificate. There will also be a participation certificate. The link for that as well is provided in the description box. Let's end this session on a positive note. Thank you, Karan. It was a very informative session. We hope that all our viewers gained some knowledge from it. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this Mean Stack workshop series. We hope you enjoyed it and gained some valuable insights about how to build applications with the Mean Stack. And we hope that you will continue to learn and use this stack in your projects. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Stay home and stay safe.